he gets his sense of self from the gaze of Barbie. So Barbie looks at him,
Oh, the
and that's where he
gaze.
basically gets a sense of self.
No. the the gaze through the eyes of Barbie, through the gaze. Did I just have my Kate Blanchett moment? Oh, you mean gaze. Oh, what was that? Hey kiddos, heathens. Welcome back. My name is Maymay Graves, and I am a musician and drag queen that used to preach at the Church of Christ, which you can see that definitely did not work out in my favor. I just want to give a big thank you to everybody who commented, liked, watched my last video. I wasn't expecting it to get that kind of viewership, so thank y'all so much. I figured that we could actually go over a few of the comments, even maybe some of the hate comments, and answer some questions. And thanks to one of your comments, I'm actually going to be reacting to Dave and Bethany talking about the Barbie movie. I know it's a little outdated, but I do have feelings. Getting into your comments, the first one is from Yo-Yo Haley. Serving real Sully from Monsters, Inc. if directed by gay Tim Burton vibes. I will take it. Juggalo or Kiss. Whoop whoop. No, I do wear a lot of blue. Sweet Sour 4375 says, your makeup gives me the chills in a good way. Thanks. Kaylin Anson 6231 says, subbed to help fight against the algorithm. Can't wait for your channel to blow up. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for following. Thanks for subscribing. Bree Whitbeck. I don't know how to say that name. 8807 says, girl, react more. Bitch, okay. No, so here's the thing. With this particular video, I didn't want to go into like the quick snippy reactions because this is like a little bit more of like an interesting subject for me to actually like earnestly react to. If you want to see like my drag queen reacts videos like it, turned up to a 10, I would suggest that you look at my Watch Out series where I react to episodes of 1,000 Ways to Die. They're a little outdated. It's a little problematic, but I still think they're fun. So if you want to see some fun shit like that, go ahead, check that out. But otherwise, I really do like to sit, listen, react, and let you guys kind of go on that journey with me on a less intense note. Holly Haunted 6502 says, love your perspective. I'm new to your channel and would love to know more about your story. Do you recommend any particular video to start with? Okay, so all of my videos are like outdated at this point, and I think that we can do better now at explaining my story and explaining my life. I think that I'm going to have a separate video where I talk about my deconversion, where I actually take notes, because I'm not good at writing shit down. So if you do want to see that, let me know in the comments, ask me questions, help me get an outline together, because that is a whole thing that I'm going to need to construct. Construct my deconstruct anyway. Also, if you hear anything downstairs, that's my drag family. They live in the apartment below me, so it's just a whole bunch of loud drag queens getting ready for the same show. And Whoa Miss Grace says, Mariana Trench sent me here, grew up in England, always had atheist parents, but my primary school was kind of religious. When my mom died of cancer when I was 7, I found people telling me that she's in a better place. Really hard to understand and deal with. I think that's where my interest in religion probably stemmed from. England is a largely atheist England is a largely atheist secular country, so it is a bit strange that I'm so fascinated with, particularly American Christian culture. But I do think that it is such a far-reaching influence on Western culture, especially when it comes to demonizing the LGBTQ plus community. Did you watch the reaction to the Barbie film? Would love to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you very much. I will be reacting to the Barbie video. I have thoughts. But yeah, no, like as someone who grew up in the community, I was probably like the worst person when it came to like demonizing gays. It came from inside the house. So like it's one of those things that I still look back and cringe on. I regret it. That's going to be part of my story. Again, if you want to see it, let me know. Eldon Quinn, I don't know if that's an L or an I, says, listen, you can sue me all you want, but Dave is so hot, like Bethany is so lucky. Let me tell you, not my type now, but like I said in my last video, the way that I would be looking directly at his calf muscles, because that was like the sexiest thing to me as like a teenager. Like I fixated on calf muscles for some reason. Okay, maybe I'll do need a Q&A. Oh, and I also got this lovely hate comment. User Anonymous says, why is this person dressed in a ridiculous clown costume while addressing very serious issues? You clearly didn't listen. I think that my look, I think that my face, especially presenting myself the way that I do and talking about the things that I do, I've always seen it as almost a strainer, and it strains out all the people who can't get past this. And also, like, the main people who say stuff like this are people that also on their Facebook have "don't judge a book by its cover" or like stupid shit like that. So I'm not worried, babe. Yeah, the person came back and said, yes, because these people literally use this guy as an example of how weird gays are. When will he get over being weird? It's been decades at this point, babe. I've been in the game for 14 years. I used to think like this person. I feel for this person. Just relax. Get over yourself. It's drag. It's funny. I'm not a serious person. And like, I don't know. Freedom. I feel so hot today. I'm doing a show tonight where I was hired to be Morticia Addams, so I feel like this is the look. This is the look. She feels it. So today we are going to be reacting to Dave and Bethany's review of the Barbie movie. This is kind of where it began for Dave and Bethany and their open discussion about Dave's deconstruction, and I found it very interesting. We love Dave in this house. We love Dave. Can I say it again? We love Dave in this house. I don't know, you guys. It's a great video. So without further ado, let us react to Does My Husband Like the Man-Bashing Barbie Movie? This is the Bethany that I know. This is the Bethany that I love.
I'm just Ken. That's enough. And I'm great at doing stuff.
I'm going to go first and do the intro.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
What's up, y'all? It's Bethany and Dave here, and we are here to deliver a Barbie review.
Or like I like to call it, shiny, happy people.
What?
If you think about it. Just think about it for a little bit.
Oh,
Huh.
yeah. Which we have a review on Shiny Happy People, so thanks for the plug.
They do? Wait a second. Well, we're just going to have to look at that one day. I would love to see the review on Shiny Happy People. Wow, how did I not know that? Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay, tell us how you ended up being the one here to give a Barbie review.
I'm here because the other night you said, hey, we can get someone to watch the kids and go see Barbie together. And I was like, like a free date. So we went.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
like a more official,
riveting.
Like, go see Barbie so we can do a review. And that's the only reason that I would really be interested to see Barbie. So
totally.
Sure.
There were a lot of couples there though. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
unless you were a movie going type of person.
Yeah.
You know, in which case like, oh, we go to movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting you would want to go see it.
I didn't.
So
damn, Dave.
It was, you've been asking me that. Like, you've been suggesting, you're like, hey, you should go see Barbie with girls, or you should go see it with friends. And you kept asking me, like, since it's come out, if I've been interested in going to see it. And for some reason, I don't know, like, it just didn't strike me as like super interesting or something that I really wanted to see. But I was like, everyone's talking.
Pause. Hold on. Dave loves Barbie. Dave wants to know the tea on Barbie. Ooh. He said, have you seen it yet? I need an excuse to see it. Oh my God. That's like whenever I would go to make out with my high school girlfriend at her house after school, and she would always have Paris Hilton's Be My New BFF on the TV. So while we're making out, my eyes are glued to the screen. This is what it gives me.
About this, and the GDM crew probably wants to hear some thoughts or take on it. For those of you who have seen it or haven't, there will definitely be spoilers. So just if you're really excited, then don't listen.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. So, then I saw our friends Paul and Morgan. They went and saw it. They have a great review too. You can go over there to the Paul and Morgan show and watch their review.
Might look at that later.
Because they got tickets, but the movie was packed, so they couldn't even sit together. So that was funny. We did get to sit together. Okay, so
we kick some people out.
Go to Alamo Draft House. Get your tickets in
Do
advance.
you want to
just
give,
kidding.
like, for those who aren't up to date on what the Barbie movie is, you want to give the overview? Like I don't know, the story.
Oh gosh, not really. It's basically the doll Barbie, but they basically make a whole world. Like she lives in this world, the Barbie Land, and Barbie Land is based on all of the company Mattel's products over the years. And like she has her own house and she says hi to other Barbies that also live in the same world. They're all named the same basically. And then she says,
Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi,
She says hi
Barbie.
to Ken.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. And then there's one Alan. Was he a toy? He was a toy at some point.
No
There was,
idea.
all Ken's clothes fit him. That was the catchphrase in the movie. And then the incident that kind of, well, actually, we missed the very, very beginning. So,
but I saw it. That part came out like in the trailer somewhere.
So we came in when we walked in the theater. It had just basically said Barbie on the screen, so the main title on the screen.
So those of you who've seen it, the beginning where all the little girls are like smashing their dolls, and then only playing with Barbies,
which
didn't
probably would have helped me a little bit.
Yeah, but we missed that.
Anyways.
Oh, wait a second. So they know what's going to happen. It wouldn't help him with the plot, but he did say that would help me a little bit to have seen it because he wants to see Barbie. Yeah, no, he wants to see Barbie. Also, I hate walking into a theater late. It's been a while, but the first time that I did it in so long was recently watching Lisa Frankenstein, and just missing the first like 5 minutes of the movie ruined it for me. Fun film.
It's narrated by Helen Mirren, which is great, but it's a kind of very self-aware, attempting to be a very self-aware kind of style where you sort of are like, the dolls exist with equality and nobody is ever sad or whatever. But just kind of in a very ironic way and stuff like that. And so the tone, the tone of the movie definitely is satirical, and it's definitely kind of winking and, all over the place and trying to kind of, be smart. It was kind of trying to be intellectual and stuff. Yeah, be super smart, which I actually enjoyed. So that, I would enjoy it more than
I actually enjoyed. I kind of liked it.
What else? So she starts having thoughts of death and other unpleasant thoughts.
Don't we all?
And so she's wondering what's happening because in her perfect world, she only has perfect thoughts and she drinks from perfect teacups that don't actually have tea, and she takes perfect showers without water coming out, and just basically it's delightful in the sense that it's kind of how kids play with dolls. So she just sort of floats off her building because
he said delightful.
A kid could just pick her up and carry her to another part of the
this verbiage
playroom, Barbie Land.
He had this written in his.
So she has to try to figure out what's wrong with her. She's starting to have distressing thoughts, and her feet are flat on the ground, which before she always had the eternal Barbie high heel feet. So now her feet are flat on the ground, and so she goes to Weird Barbie, and Weird Barbie is this. Oh, we should say there's a connection between the real world, as it becomes called, and the Barbie Land. And so things that happen in the real world to Barbie toys in the real world affect what happens to Barbies in Barbie Land. So depending whoever their owner is in the real world, could be playing with them and abusing them or stretching their legs or cutting their hair, and that kind of has a effect. Translates into
things
Barbie
that
Land,
you and I missed out on.
So they meet Weird Barbie, and Weird Barbie is sort of the ultimate stereotypical version of that doll that was basically just smashed and thrown around and hair cut and colored on and always doing the splits, which is really funny because you see Barbies all over the place that are in weird positions and stuff like that. So Kate McKinnon, she was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Ally.
So, I mean, just like the overall plot.
I'm trying here.
I can help.
Yeah, why don't you help? Because, so then she needs to go to the real world to see what's up with her owner, the person who's been playing with her, what's wrong in their life. So, and if she does that, she can get back to her normal, perfect life, I think is the promise. So she basically heads off to the real world to figure out what the heck is wrong.
Mm-hmm. And then that's what we'll get into all the discussion of what we will.
Oh, was that the extent? Was that the extent of the?
I mean, that was pretty good. Yeah, I feel like
Okay.
that's basically the plot line and the story, and without giving everything away.
All right.
Okay.
She wanted beginning, middle, and end. Dave gave a comprehensive, well-established, well-researched review of the plot. And Bethany wanted, it's about Barbie and she hates men. Love it.
So let's start with, okay, first off, this is not a Christian movie. This is not trying to claim to be a Christian movie in any way, shape, or form. So I think when we as Christians come to these movies and we are trying to analyze it from like our own Christian worldview, and we're like, well, they had this and they had that. Like, of course, this is not a Christian movie. So if you are going to Barbie and expecting like Christian values to be present in there, that's
Barbie on PureFlix this fall.
It's not the case. This is, so you have to go into a movie with the expectation of who's creating this and what am I going here for? Am I going here just because I want to have fun, a date night, and be entertained? Okay, great. Are there things in it that are going to, too many things that are going to compromise my convictions? Okay, I won't go see it. You are making that choice based off of the fact that this is not a Christian movie. So we're not coming to analyze this as like, what did they go against scripture and what didn't? We're just giving it, we are Christians and we're going to talk about the movie as Barbie, the movie, and what we liked, what we didn't like, and why we liked it and why we didn't like it. So that's kind of the point of this review. It's a little bit more of a cultural conversation, something that is absolutely exploding right now in culture. And so we want to be a part of those conversations. And that's why we're here.
I don't particularly want to be a part of every cultural conversation.
Sorry. Yeah.
Neither do I, Dave.
I was thinking we could do things we liked about it, positives, starting with the positives. And then maybe we could go to our negatives after that.
Okay.
And then maybe just overall thoughts.
Sure.
So.
Okay. Why don't you go first?
Oh, let's do positives, Bethany. I love this.
Well, let's see. You'll probably realize as it goes on that I have less positives and more negatives than him. But my positives, I thought the set was really fun. I thought like the whole, like all the pink, all the Barbie Land stuff, the dream houses, all of that, the costumes, everything was like such a blast. So fun. All the outfits were so cute. I thought all the actors were like really like good. Like I thought they did a really great job of just like really
They're trained.
Being the character that the director wanted them to be. So they fit the storyline script. Hands down for me, Ken was by far the most hilarious to me. I just thought his whole personality and him in the story kind of like made it. He really brought so much energy.
Ryan Gosling did a great job.
Really a lot of needed comedy and humor because it kind of was lacking.
Bullshit, Bethany. It was not lacking. Here's the thing. I did enjoy the Barbie movie. Did I have issues with it? Sure. But it's a very basic idea of a feminist movie. Like this ground zero. What do you call that? Step one, feminism. But like Nurse Barbie, her character was fantastic. I wish there was more of her. President Barbie, she was top tier, stealing the show. Loved it. I think it's an inherent Christian need for a male character to be comedic or to drive a story. So having Ken involved was a good idea to garner a wide audience. But so I understand. It seems like Bethany's following the women aren't funny line of thinking.
So that was really, really fun. And then Weird Barbie was hilarious. The one, the splits one. She was absolutely hilarious. So I really, really liked that. I mean,
should go see the movie just for Ken and Weird Barbie.
Yeah, if you go for Ken and Weird Barbie and just like everything else, whatever.
Yeah. Everything else is filler. This story is filler.
It's kind of true. I think one of the best parts is just like the marketing. Like I think the people who win at Barbie is the marketing team, because they created, and it's, marketing over the years really to create this, but then even leading up to the release of Barbie, I mean, just the fact that like all of these groups of girls and like women are getting all dressed up and like planning these girls' nights and planning these girls' days, and like all of them want to get a picture inside the Barbie box at the movie theater, and everyone's just dressing up in pink and like having so much fun with it. To me, that's probably one of the most.
Okay, so they had an early showing of Barbie at the AMC down the street, and we went there to see Terrifier. They had it out in theaters. But also me and my assistant walking past a whole bunch of people in pink taking photos in the Barbie booth was hilarious. It was Barbenheimer week, so we were the Heimer. We didn't see Oppenheimer. Not interested. But Terrifier was great. 3 people in the theater. Let's do it.
Entire movie is just all of these friendships and sisters getting together, dates, and just like all the people that are coming together and making memories. So that's probably the biggest positive for me, is just all of the like fun that people are having. So that's the extent of my positives.
That's the extent. Okay. I enjoyed it more than that.
Yeah, you did.
Just because if you like
Look at Bethany.
the kind of intellectual, kind of trying to be smart type of movie where you're trying to figure out what are they trying to say and how's the storytelling work to sort of say what they're trying to say, then it's actually more engaging. So for me, it was more engaging because the whole movie, I was kind of like, okay, where are they going with this one? Okay, then now this sort of plot device, where are they going with this? So actually,
simple-minded like
no,
me.
well,
no,
it's
Bethany.
not really being simple-minded, but if you're, it's more the expectation.
Yes.
If you're going to see a sincere movie, it was not that. It was not really a sincere movie, in the sense that it wasn't
Dave.
it wasn't really. It was trying. What do we say? It was trying to be so self-aware of itself, and that when it did try to be sincere. Well, this is probably getting into, that's more of a negative. Okay. So if you were expecting just a fairy tale, like a Disney princess movie,
I feel like I know where he was going with that, and I kind of agree with him.
if you were expecting just a fairy tale, like a Disney princess movie or something like that, that's not what this was.
Boo!
Right. So,
oh yeah.
Boo, Barbie.
so I kind of went in knowing that it wasn't that. And so I wasn't as disappointed. I figured, or I had heard, that it had more of that kind of cultural commentary, sort of feminist angle, which it did.
There's enough Barbie movies that are fairy tale princess.
I enjoyed all that. There was a pretty, again, intellectual, but existential message, which I like existentialism as just kind of a philosophy. It's fun. And just like a lot of successful Hollywood movies, they're going to have an existentialist message, and it basically goes something like, what does it really mean to be human? Do we have a creator? If we do have a creator, what does that mean for our life purpose? Is purpose fixed, or is it something that we create? And typically the existentialist will say,
oh, hold on, my foot's asleep. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ow, ow. Get out of here. Oh my God. Sorry for the disturbance.
Meaning is not inherent to reality. It's something that you create. And so it had a very garden variety version of that message through, I would say, particularly at the end of the film when it was kind of wrapping up. What is the point of all this? That's kind of where it went, which is very, 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 you can see it coming. It's normal. What is the word?
It was so obvious.
What is that word? It's you would see it because you watch movies, and this is like the message for probably most movies you watch. And again, along with that kind of existentialist streak is self-development. So I'm really into a lot of that stuff, just as not necessarily as the whole entirety of a worldview, but it's got a lot of interesting ideas. And so I'd rather a movie move in that direction than some of the other directions. So I actually appreciated a lot about how Barbie, I think, and the more I thought about it, the more I appreciated this, and the more I read about it too, where it wasn't really.
He looked at the reviews, he looked at the critiques, he looked at the video essays of Barbie. He knows Barbie throughout. Him and Margot Robbie talk.
I think a lot of conservatives thought, oh, it's just bashing men. And I think that what it was doing was it was more saying, like, here's a stereotypical world, Barbie Land, and here are some of the impacts on the real world with expectations for women and stuff like that. And here are some of the kind of tropes and stereotypes about patriarchy, and we're going to kind of explore that. What if patriarchy came to Barbie Land, you know, at one point in the movie? And so I really like that idea. It was very experimental to me, of just like, let's put these stereotypes along with these stereotypes, and let's flip the power dynamic, and then let's see what happens, and then let's flip it back, and then let's like try to come to something that maybe transcends both of those. And I think that filmmakers did try to do that, especially near the end. They tried to, and we can go into some of why.
Yeah, I'm resisting rolling my eyes.
You're resisting. Okay,
Bethany, chill.
Not at you, at like that whole thing.
Yeah,
you're way kinder and more generous.
It's typical of. I mean,
be kind,
days,
be generous. Jesus Christ, Bethany.
To just have a straight up, here's the power dynamic. Here's who's been oppressed, and then let's basically like flip that, and the people who should be leading are the people who have been oppressed. And the movie, I don't think the movie exactly went there. In the final analysis, in terms of what happens in the real world, I don't think that the movie was necessarily trying to say, oh, it would be better if women were in charge of everything.
Well, Barbie Land, they made that clear, but then
in Barbie Land they did, but
Dave gets it.
Like they didn't really have a solid answer.
It was a little convoluted.
Now what? Now what happens to Barbie?
Yeah. Which that's more exactly what I want to talk about. But
Dave said, I'm not finished, Beth.
I liked all that. Yeah, I liked all that. All that exploration is fun. The philosophical explorations are fun. Ken was a hoot. He was so funny. And Weird Barbie as well. So those were my two favorite parts, I would say, in the musical numbers.
He loves a musical number.
It's so funny.
Oh, I wanted so much more of that.
And the Ken story arc too, for his character arc is so, in my opinion, these are things I'll share. These are so, I thought that there were some things that were very well done about that.
Okay, real quick, you guys, I make jokes, I talk about these things real serious for a second. There's a lot of people who love to talk about how Dave is gay, or they love to overanalyze that Dave is like closeted. I'm not one of those people. I like to joke a little, but otherwise I'm more so just understanding Dave as a theater straight, you know what I mean? I don't entertain those ideas of trying to guess someone's sexuality. I think that that's problematic and a little toxic and not really my thing that I want to do or facilitate in my comments. So I just understand that, like, me and Dave, we have very similar ideas and very similar feelings about certain things. So I find that very fascinating.
I mean, Ken was the best part.
Those are just some of my positives. Yeah.
It's, it's funny because it's all about like women and female empowerment and how like we've been oppressed so much about the patriarchy. Oh my gosh.
Girl.
But it was funny because it's like, so now we have like women director producing. So it's like, man, if you wanted this to be like
the man steals the show, go figure.
He kind of stole the show, you know.
Bethany has a little crush on Ken.
When we start to take ourselves so seriously and we try to become like I don't know, all we, instead of just like go and do and be what you want, they have to say it all. Like, no, this is where we've been and this is where we're going. Like, it's like Barbie took herself so
because your church complains
like,
about it
from the beginning, and then like she would have these moments of not being serious. But Ken like never really took himself seriously, so he was much more likable.
Well,
because he didn't rock the boat, he was a lot more likable because he was the closest thing to not questioning the status quo, which is his whole point in the movie. That's what makes him likable, and that's something to look inward about, Bethany.
Yeah, I mean, Ken to me was interesting because he I would sort of describe him as having no guile. He has no, like, what he says is basically what's in his mind. And so it's a character that's a very, very easy to read in some ways.
What did I say?
And you don't have that with every character in the movie. And so I think for me, his character arc is very clear and fun to follow because he goes from, should we get into
totally.
Okay.
She said, yeah, totally.
He goes from, he goes into the real world and he discovers patriarchy because they didn't have that in Barbie Land. In Barbie Land, it's basically a utopian matriarchy. And so the women are sort of the first class, group. And then the Ken dolls are sort of the secondary class.
Like if they exist, the random accessories.
We don't even know where they live. No. Where does Ken live? Like, I don't know.
I still want to
And
know.
every night is girls' night. He's constantly excluded from the female spaces, if you want to put it that way. So it's kind of like taking what a lot of people talk about today, which has plenty of merit to that conversation, but saying, okay, women are excluded from this space, and basically saying, well, in Barbie Land, it's the opposite. It's this is a woman's world, and men are sort of excluded. And so he is he gets his sense of self from the gaze of Barbie. So Barbie looks at him.
Oh, the
and
gaze.
basically gets a sense of self.
No. The gaze through the eyes of Barbie, through the gaze. Did I just have my Kate Blanchett moment? Oh, you mean gaze. Oh, what was that?
His identity is wrapped up in what she thinks of him. And her giving him attention. This is a very weak place to be, but at least it's easy to read. It's very simple.
Yeah.
So he discovers patriarchy and then brings patriarchy back to Barbie Land and flips everything and brainwashes all the Barbie dolls, basically, so that he and the other Ken dolls can basically run the show. And so he goes from this weak, sort of subservient, like, I don't exist if she's not in my world, to this basically like, you're in my world to serve me. And which is the same weakness, except the opposite.
Yeah.
This is just the opposite end of the spectrum, but it's no more developed. It's a very underdeveloped mode. And so I like all that. That's actually a lot of us men have either one of those. Either we build our life around a woman or a an individual that we can look up to, or we tend to want someone to service us and sort of build their life around us. Either way, it's a weak place to be.
Are we
And so Ken
deconstructing
tries
toxic
both.
masculinity as well,
one in the
Dave?
beginning, and then he goes and swings to the other end and the end. And through the course of the movie, at the end, he has to learn that his identity and his sense of self can't be linked to Barbie. That Barbie being in love with him or Barbie, looking at him can't be where he gets his sense of self. He has to find that elsewhere. And so, he's just Ken. He's not just. It's not Ken or Barbie and Ken. It's what did she say?
I forget.
It's not Barbie and Ken. It's
like just Ken.
Just Ken and just Barbie or
Yeah.
something like that. Okay. So Barbie also, in similar fashion, has the same crisis because she doesn't really have a sense of self either. For most of the movie, she is struggling with the fact that she thinks who she is basically this image, this expectation,
Stereotypical
the
Barbie.
stereotype that she's supposed to sort of perform.
Mm-hmm.
And this is supposed to give women a sense of empowerment. And she learns that that is not really what's happened, largely. And there are other Barbies as well, President Barbie, there are, Dr. Barbie, all that stuff in Barbie Land. And they are supposed to be looked on as these paradigms of female empowerment and stuff. But I think the film really tries to go after the idea that you're more than your role and you're more than these expectations that society's placing on you. So Barbie's basically she gets her reflected sense of self from what society says about her and what society expects from her. And Ken gets his sense of self from what Barbie thinks of him. Right. And then, or if Barbie's building her world around him. And then the Barbies decide to flip back the power dynamic. Once Barbie Land becomes a patriarchy, they decide to use their talents as women with doofus men who are duped in a million different ways to basically flip the power dynamic back to it being that Barbie Land again, where women are, the ones with the key voices and stuff like that. And I think what the movie sort of where it goes is that at the end of all of that, Barbie still doesn't know who she is. And I thought that was one of the best things that the movie said, was that you flipping around, taking power in a group or in a society isn't going to give you yourself. You are simply
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
If you're reacting to whoever has the power, once you actually do get the power, you're not going to know who you are.
Hold on, I want to take a moment. Look at how Bethany, how it's being explained to her, and she's actually kind of getting it. She's kind of realizing what the whole point of the film is. A little bit. But she's fighting. She's fighting. Them's is fighting faces.
The power, you're not going to know who you are any more than you did before. And that's what Ken finds. Ken didn't have the power. Then he got the power. He still didn't have a sense of self. He thought that what made him unique was that Barbie, served him, or that he could, play the guitar, that, it's the stuff that I can do, whatever. It's still not a solid sense of self. It's very reflected based on, how cool I am and how Barbie just feeds his ego, So at the very end of the movie, there's basically this message of, well, what does it mean to actually be human? So Barbie has the chance to become human. And what does that actually mean? Does it mean fulfilling the designs of your creator, who she meets? She meets the creator who created Barbie.
Is this a secular film?
And what that woman says, this old lady near the end says, I can't control you. Basically, I don't control your destiny. Even though I made you, I don't control your destiny. And so basically Barbie has to figure out who she is going to be and develop that solid sense of self. And in good existentialist fashion, basically she's going to look inside and decide who she wants to be. And she ends up traveling to the real world and to become a part of it, to basically be human. And Ken presumably learns to live his life as an individual without Barbie. So actually, onto the matriarchy. So I actually think that whole line that I've just outlined is actually great in a lot of ways. That is,
he loved
a lot of us are suffering from our own weakness, a reflected sense of self. It's what this person thinks about me. It's my expectations. It's my performance that really gets me to have a sense of self. And so
that movie hit him hard.
Is important. Although the movie does, I think mirror the worldview of the filmmakers, which is going to be sort of like, well, create your own meaning. You decide, you decide what that's going to be. As a Christian, I wouldn't stop there, but I would say, well, that's better than what they had previously in the movie.
Oh, this was a hint. He was knee deep in deconstruction. Ooh, baby.
I mean, it's interesting because I was telling you, like, I watched the Selena Gomez documentary, and it basically ends with her being like, I am enough. And it's kind of what the Barbie movie ends with. It's just like the very popular thing to say or to believe, is to just like, I mean, Ken literally wears like a sweater at the end that says he's enough, but then with the big K. So he's Knuff, like Ken enough. And Barbie is setting out to be kind of like ordinary Barbie, just like a normal person in the world, just like enough as who she is. She doesn't have to be stereotypical Barbie. She doesn't have to always look perfect. She can get cellulite. She can have flat feet. And she is enough. And so to me, it's really sad that that's where we end things. Like,
okay, I know where she's going. I think with this is a very, that believe in yourself it's a dirty word to a lot of evangelicals, especially like fundamentalist evangelicals. I remember one day we would have to have a devotional every morning before school at my Christian school. And one time someone came in and they were like, I don't have anything prepared. And then a kid in the bleachers where we sat for the devotional said, well, believe in yourself, like as a joke. And the teacher got so mad that they said, believe in yourself. They said, no, believe in God, trust in God. You are not enough. Like, they love to rehash that idea that you will never be enough in the eyes of the Lord, And so I think I know exactly where she's going with this.
Basically are telling people like that's the ultimate end goal. Like, you are enough. But like, like, what is that rooted in? Just like believing it, just hoping like I am enough, I don't know. As a Christian, to me, that's like Ali Bestaki has a book, You're Not Enough. And that's okay because Christ is enough. And we find our sense of identity and self in him.
What did I say? 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 Exactly. I love when I'm right.
To me, that's so crucial as a Christian because I'll never be good enough. I'm going to have hard days. I'm going to have moments where I don't like the way that I look. I'm not going to always, like, even if I can be confident, like at the end of the day, I do have a longing to be named by someone, my creator, to have an identity outside of myself, to live for something greater than myself. And so these movies that end like Barbie with like this whole big build up and all of this, and then it's just kind of like, you are enough. It's like, but who does that really help? And like, how is that the final message? Like, how have we come to this point in time where that is like the grand conclusion? So that kind of bugs me, irks me. I think we probably view it differently. So this is the big debate
Probably
amongst conservatives, particularly, is some say, no, they were not bashing on men. They were not making men look bad. And then others are saying, yes, they were totally bashing on men. They, men are just, were like genuinely made to be like total idiots. It wasn't just supposed to be funny. So what do you think about that?
First of all,
tell us, Dave.
Neither stereotypical Barbie Land nor the real world were that realistic. So the real world in the movie Barbie is like stereotypical real world from the perspective of, I don't know, second and third wave feminists or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
And some post feminists too. I think
he knows about this stuff.
The men they're bashing in the movie, the men they're bashing are doofuses. I don't necessarily see there being a message as, all men are like this. To me, it's actually positive. It's like all the men in the movie are like this.
Bethany is irritated that her narrative is not being spoken.
That great or has any substance. But then I'll go up the kind of meta level and be like, yeah, but Ryan Gosling is in the movie and he crushes his role. He does a really good professional job as an actor.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't just sit there and be like, it makes men look terrible whenever everybody's favorite character is Ken. Girl.
And in the movie, and there are other men as well who are really killing it at their career, doing a really good job and doing a great job for the movie. So does the movie really not have any men who, is it bashing all the men, or is it basically saying, also look how good Ryan Gosling and maybe Will Ferrell or whatever, look at how well they do. I just don't take the story that seriously.
Yeah. See, that's my
You're
problem.
Not supposed to.
Because I feel like the movie, it was supposed to be like kind of over the top in every way. Like, this is ridiculous and this is ridiculous. But then I feel like the movie, especially Barbie's side of the movie, like Ken's side of the movie, to me stayed pretty like comedic and funny and not that serious. Like, he brought
more
all
funny
the
joke
humor, and Barbie's, her whole side and all the women were taken so seriously. I mean, literally in the movie, it's like the women.
You don't like that women were taken seriously? I'm sorry, I keep interrupting, but damn.
Women, all the Barbie dolls have to be like woken up to this, to realize that they have been living under the patriarchy. But it's like, these are like feminist talking points, it's like back in the day, like women need to know that, like they would literally, like, we have to tell them how unhappy they are in their homes. So we have to tell them how unhappy they are as mothers,
The idea is that
what they did.
Or were people just saying, we're unhappy at home, we're unhappy as mothers? It's not that cut and dry, baby. Who was the one telling them that they were unhappy as mothers, unhappy in their homes? Statistically, it was people who were unhappy in their homes that were women and unhappy as mothers. They understood that different people felt different things.
They're idiots and they're brainwashed. So there actually is kind of a streak within certain forms of feminism where you're under a false consciousness if you don't really if you're not awakened to the reality of this systemic sexism in the society, then you're basically...
He said systemic and she had to collect herself.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what happens in Barbie Land. They're brainwashed and, and they have to wake up when they're sort of given phrases of cognitive dissonance. You have to be thin, but not talk about being thin, or you have to be thin, but not too thin, and you can't talk about, but you have to talk about health, or they're like, you need to you need to mother him, but need to not remind him of his mother. All things like this, where it's things that actually, to some degree, and in many relationships, are probably true.
Totally.
Probably is.
Those are the things that sort of wake the Barbies up to, oh my goodness, I've been asleep, and yes, I can now see clearly. And I think that's one of the ironies of the movie, and one of the ironies of trying to be so self-aware, is that you could do a number of those just based on the movie itself.
Yeah.
And just how the movie is using commercialism and
Yes.
possibly even sexism to basically try and sound like they're woke. So there's a
so much
character,
wokeness.
Will Ferrell plays a character in the movie where he tries to have all these things like, we've had women CEOs like twice, we uphold women, we empower women, this is, and he's just so adamant that he's like woke, and he's with it. And the film's making a great point, that all these talking points don't actually make you aware of the society, or put you in a place where you're actually willing to share power.
It's almost like Dave understands the idea and the power of performative activism and the difference between activism and performative activism. And Bethany is seeing it all as the same thing. I don't know, guys.
Because he's the CEO and he's at the top. That's actually, under one perspective, that's a great analogy for the movie itself.
You don't have to hold back.
That kind of character who's basically like saying all the things,
Yes.
but still functioning in a very capitalist, very, even possibly sexist way. And you're, at least according to the definition,
Mattel is still a corporation. You're correct.
And so you could argue that there is a cognitive dissonance just with the movie itself and what it's trying to say. So the cognitive dissonance would be between what the movie is trying to say and the fact of the movie.
Yeah.
And the fact of the Barbie brand being one of the big reasons why the movie is having any attendance.
That's a huge thing to talk about, that Dave looked past the meaning of the movie and saw the also underlying problems that also I agree with. It's a big thing that a lot of companies are doing, that they think that if a Netflix movie comes out and then the movie makes fun of how Netflix kind of ruins films or takes shows down that were really good, if they talk about it, the company thinks, well, at least we addressed it and it's kind of funny and we can joke about it, and they don't actually address the problem. It's a very interesting thing that you're bringing up, Dave.
So I don't think people are necessarily just attending for the deconstruction. They might be there for it, but they're not necessarily all coming for it.
Well, and it's funny because they're like, I mean, if you go and see it, and if you have seen it, it was like, it was past the point of being like satirical and like, oh, ha ha. It was like, no, they're pretty serious. Like, I thought, are we sure it's like this political or this woke? Like, are they just joking? And it was like super, like, it was just so that way. And so it's just almost insulting. It's like that. It's like you feel like they're telling you, like, you need to be this way or else you're like stuck under old ways of thinking. And it's like, oh,
there were moments. I agree. There were moments.
I have no problem with that. That's their opinion. Whatever.
No, I know. But I mean, for a movie like this.
And I agree with Dave.
Like,
that's their opinion.
Why does everything have to be so 2020, like 2023, like the 2020s? Like in a few years, things are going to change and it's going to be like, oh my goodness, that's so 2023. Like, why does it have to be all of these like talking points from right now, like so obvious, so direct? I mean, I was like literally falling asleep halfway through because it was just became so boring. Like, there were no surprises. Like, you could basically from the very beginning, as soon as you kind of get a little bit into the storyline, it's like you could have literally said exact phrases that happened until the very end, minus a few comedic moments, and so that's like, really, like, why? And then the whole idea of like, there really wasn't any romantic relationship between Ken and Barbie. And it's like these days, women, they feel like, especially with this kind of like whole feminist mindset, like, we have to be the hero. We don't need men. We don't want men. And so we just have to be like the hero of our own destiny and the hero of our own story. And he needs to go be his own person. But we definitely didn't have any romance or any relationship. But the reality is so many women, like, they enjoy romance. They enjoy, and it's like,
in the film, Barbie and Ken were essentially an arranged marriage. And that's kind of the point that I was trying to bring across, which is why they didn't have a romantic relationship. Bethany's lost the plot. She is furious.
These characters, like the people in real life, like they not everyone just wants to be like individual and like conquering the whole world. Like, we love having like, a person or even to be pursued. So it's just like ridiculous.
But they don't want to be with
David's like, Bethany, chill.
Any of the men in the movie. It's like, you shouldn't.
Well, because they made them all idiots.
Terrible. Yeah, exactly.
But they did that.
So that's more like, well, actually, good men that honor and love women well are made to look even better.
That's true.
That's how I view the movie. It's like, it's more like Yeah, if you're surrounded by guys like that, I'm very sorry. That is really rough. And the movie doesn't explicitly say all men are like this.
They just
I
didn't
think
portray
do they say
any.
all men hate women at one point, or they hate
They
each?
said
Okay,
so
whatever.
many things.
But the I more walk away going like, yeah, don't be with any of those guys. Definitely.
Why do you think they didn't
Dave
have a single, there
has
was
this
not
like
one
ability
person
to
who
not
was
take things
not one man
seriously.
who
I
was
love
not
Whereas
it.
portrayed as a
Alan
total.
was a kind of out of the box
Yeah.
kind of guy. He doesn't get any girls or guys.
He's kind of like, okay, we're not even really sure what exactly he is.
It was funny.
But okay, but any of like
The Alan
he's
hate,
still an
I hate
idiot
it.
too, though. Like whatever he is, he's like a doofus. He's like so dumb. But like all of the guys in the real world and in Barbie Land, every single last one is portrayed as like literally a complete idiot, like beyond
much.
idiot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like he's such an idiot. It's almost like,
As an idiot myself.
But here's the thing, though. We've heard these statistics and stuff. Women are outstripping men in so many different sectors in our society. Education and careers and stuff. It's like
Not the church.
men are very much falling behind. It seems like there's a crisis of identity amongst many men. So there are movements that are sort of capturing a lot of these men that are really stereotypical, that are like the manosphere that I've heard of. I don't know much about it, but it's this sort of idea that if the feminists say this, you sort of say the opposite. Like the feminists say, they have all the power. And so you're like, it's good to have power. You basically just affirm that sort of thing. And there are a lot of groups like that. And there are a lot of guys that treat the women that they're with like that. I mean, very much like, you're here to serve me, either, and in both ways.
I love how cerebral he is about
sort of nice guy approach, where I'm building my life around you and your happiness is the most important thing in my life, and our relationship is the most important thing. That's a very weak position to be in. And just as much as the, jerk version, where it's like, you need to serve me and stuff. But the thing is, it seems to me like that very much exists. Men like that were like that sometimes.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, like, we had an interview with Nancy Piercy, and you can listen to it. It's a few episodes back, all on the toxic war on masculinity. And I think that that's true.
That's the manosphere.
That we've swung so far to this side of like, not just that women want to have equality with men, but they want men, like men have to be like scum and men have to go down. And like Nancy Piercy was saying, like, it's all these jokes, like testosterone is a cancer and we have to basically like weed out men from like men are the problem.
No,
and
it's not.
Like, I think of raising a son, and it's like, I do not want to raise him basically viewing his manhood and his masculinity.
Raise him like Dave. Dave's not just a soy boy. He's cerebral. He has thoughts.
Okay, so
very reasonable
we gotta
thoughts.
start wrapping it up here.
Okay.
My overall opinion of the movie and score, if we did a 1 to 10, Paul and Morgan did a 1 to 10. I like that.
I hate the 1 to 10.
I'll do a 1 to 10.
Okay. They're just reviewing and scoring. That's the end of the video. But that was a lot to get through. Overall, I would say that Bethany is holding on to a very certain idea that she's told about feminism, to the point where it kind of blinds her to certain presentations of feminism. And Barbie is like a pretty easy to understand, like, again, step one feminism. Dave, and he said before, he listens to a lot of podcasts, he reads a lot of books about like just deconstruction, about like social things that he has kind of studied up on, so he kind of has like a wider understanding and a wider net of being able to take in that kind of information. There are issues that I have with Barbie, some that I've described in this video, others that I'm just like, yeah, it kind of does get a little, it tries to get too meta to where it almost loses the plot. That's a whole other story. With this, I appreciate that Dave is so open in this video, and it was very telling for how this led up to his deconstruction video. So I had a lot of fun doing this. Final thoughts. Work, Dave. But If you do have questions, leave them in the comments. I think my next video, I want to do a question and answer. But yeah, please leave comments, leave questions. Let me know what you think. Let me know what other videos you want me to react to. And check out my music up at the top. My music video for Ghost has some extra views on it. So thank you guys very much for checking that out. I appreciate it. We're getting new music out very soon. That's it for me. I gotta go do this gig. Love you. See you later. Bye.